Let's talk about the subtle ways that women devalue other women by trying to devalue men, starting with this comment. First of all, this comment is completely untrue. I don't know why the spread of medical misinformation seems to run on the same pipeline as man-bashing, but this is one of the most blatantly medically false shitposts I've seen since the lady who claimed that men could spread diabetes to women through intercourse. This whole conversation started when I said that after birth there is nothing that a mother can do that a father can't. To which she very proudly and smugly replied, "I didn't realize dads could breastfeed." My sister in Christ, neither can a massive population of mothers. First of all, every 1 in 25 families adopt. What do you think those parents do? Of biological mothers, 5 to 10% of them will never physiologically be able to produce milk. Those numbers increase for those who have had cesarean sections, 51% of whom report having difficulty producing milk afterward. And dads, well yeah, they produce milk about 0% of the time. But you want to know what all of those parents have in common? They're all capable of feeding their child. Every single one of them has access to formula, to milk banks. Every single one of them is capable of providing a loving and nurturing environment for that child. So I'll say it again. After birth, there is nothing that a mother can do that a father can't do. You might want to brush up on your health and reproductive science, because even the men in my comments know not all women can breastfeed.
Well, I am thinking about this. Why do short guys always have like something else about their appearance that just like makes up for their shortness, or at least they think it does? Like, if they're short, they're also buff. Or if they're short, they also have a mustache. Like, there's always a second thing that goes with these short guys. Obviously not all of them, but like quite a lot of them. Name other things that they would do to balance that they are short.
You can't think of any other qualities that might be attractive about a man outside of being tall, muscular, and having a mustache. So not only do you think short men need to offset being short with some other quality, you can't think of any positive character traits they could use to do this. Maybe integrity, honesty, kindness, maybe? No, just the only way you value men is through their physical appearance? Cool. So what physical attributes are you using to offset your shitty personality?
So I've been seeing people with brown eyes try the blue eye filter, and I was like, oh, fuck it. Are you f***ing... I see why people with colored eyes always have their eyes open and they're like cheesing hard as f***. Because, fuck, I would be too. What the fuck?
Okay, I know he wasn't super serious. He was just enjoying a filter that makes him look different. But high-key, I feel like brown eyes are so slept on. And not only slept on, but like shafted by society. Do any of you guys remember this moment from the Prince family?
I have pretty eyes.
She do got pretty eyes.
Because I had blue eyes when I was born.
Sorry.
She really said, I thought she'd have pretty eyes about her own daughter. Brown is pretty. I like brown eyes because they make your eyes look bigger. And they're never just brown. Like, depending on how the sun hits them and depending on the time of day, they'll be like red, maroon, amber, gold. Us light-eyed people don't get that. Oh, brown eyes are also an evolutionary flex. See, brown eyes are actually more resistant to issues because they have more melanin. Brown eyes are better at repairing DNA damage and replenishing tear ducts. Basically, people with brown eyes can be outside longer with less issues, and that's awesome. Look, you guys tell us all the time, now it's our turn to tell you. Brown-eyed kings, you do not need a filter.
Why 9 to 5s don't work for women? The system was based off of men and male hormones. Men have a 24-hour hormone cycle where women have...
New mental gymnastics for women just dropped. Apparently, the 9 to 5 work cycle was built to accommodate the male hormone cycle, which is why it doesn't work for women and why it's so hard for us. The women who are all sharing this talking point right now are trying to say that because the male hormone cycle is 24 hours, starting early in the day and petering out at night, unlike women's, which lasts a full 28 days, that's why 9 to 5s exist, to make men's lives easier. So I'm going to debunk this as quickly as I can because there's already so much stupidity in this world. No, the 9 to 5 work schedule has nothing to do with the male hormone cycle. Henry Ford constructed the 9 to 5 work schedule under the pressure of newly forming unions because so many men were dying at work. And no, it's not lost on me that women consider less men dying just another male privilege. And considering the word testosterone had like just been invented 2 years prior, I can assure you unions were not basing this work schedule around a concept that didn't even exist yet. It was literally just dudes saying, people are awake during the day and then they go to bed at night. It's always been that simple. Next, honestly suggesting that men share the same hormonal cycle is just as stupid as suggesting that women all share the same menstrual cycle. Men's hormonal cycles have been proven to be just as unpredictable, and we don't even know if they're a 24-hour cycle. In fact, endocrinologist Peter Selleck out of Comenius University in Slovakia has been conducting research since 2002 that suggests that they also have monthly cycles. So with all that being said, let's go back to this original claim. Women can't work a 9 to 5? Tell me, what does a typical collegiate day look like? Right? And who is thriving right now in higher education, men or women? And what is it you hope to accomplish with this talking point? For women to not work? Are you dumb? Women have revolutionized the labor force, especially in STEM. Do you like Kevlar vests? Do you like Wi-Fi? Cool, because that was women working 9 to 5. Meanwhile, despite that all being established, the most common working hours for men are still 7 to 5. So now you not only need to explain to me why it is exactly that women can't work a 9 to 5, but also why ensuring that they aren't is a bigger priority than overworking the men who are currently working longer hours. The issue is that every time society becomes so close to getting it, they stop only at the woman's door and they never quite make it to the men's door. Instead of advocating for laborers as a whole, you'd rather infantilize women so we can be babied while men get left in the dust. This isn't a woman's issue. This isn't a hormonal issue. Flexible work hours and revamping the labor system as we know it is for everyone. Getting pregnant by your boy best friend. Oh. Wait, not because this is exactly why we worry about the person you tell us not to worry about. It took everything in me not to ask who she was actually dating when this child was conceived. And I'm trying to be happy for this couple? But you know how weird as hell it is to congratulate two friends on having a baby together? Why are you putting us in this uncomfortable position of forcing us to pretend that this is a thing? Stop trying to make having babies with your boy best friends happen, Gretchen. It's not going to happen. How many times do you think this man has heard that he's like a brother to her? Kid's gonna be calling him Uncle Dad. Kid's gonna be calling his own dad Buddy. Alright, I'm done making fun of this. At the end of the day, I guess two people who like each other having a kid is still better than two people who hate each other having a kid, so there's that. But it does bring up the question of how their future relationships will go. I mean, guys, how do you feel about your girl having a boy best friend? Or ladies, how do you feel about your guy having a girl best friend? Me personally, I do think it's possible under the right parameters, but if you're having a whole ass baby with this friend, I don't think they're the right parameters.
Let's illustrate a day in the life of a family whose father is abusing people with his hobby, all right? So we're focusing on a standard American family. You've got, mother, father, 2.5 kids, dog. You've got expenditures, you've got bills. And let's say you're working on a pretty slim budget. We're going to make this a working class family. So there's not a lot left over. The math has to be pretty precise because you've got to cover all your bills, your groceries, and ideally have a little bit left over.
Okay, we know how budgeting works. How are men's hobbies toxic?
So you can do something fun because there's no point in living if there aren't fun things, and poor people deserve joy too. So there's that.
We agree.
Let's say everyone has their own hobbies, their own things they like to pursue. All their children, the parents, etc. The father, let's say that his hobby generously even generates some income and actually can partially pay for itself. Which
Perfect.
Is awesome. Okay, that's not enough for him. He wants more. He wants to deep dive into his hobby. He's prioritizing his hobby above everything else.
How is this a gendered argument so far? Do women not also sometimes overindulge in their hobbies? I mean, surely there's some scientific evidence to back men's hobbies as weapons.
To the detriment of the household because he now wants to take funds from the household, from those bills, and apply it to his hobby, which only benefits him. And he'll ask, he'll consult sometimes, but he's not really asking because if you tell him no, he's going to make it known. He will punish the household for months afterwards.
So now the argument is that men are more likely to engage in passive-aggressive Cold War for weeks to months on end. Okay, go on.
Weeks to months afterwards. And it's going to be closing doors hard, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's going to be distancing himself from the entire family. It's going to be ugly tones and insulting people. It's horrible, okay? But let's say you do say yes. Let's say you give it. Then he's going to be mad because you're not making his hard-earned funds go far enough, even if you're both working, even if both parents are working. It's all his money, and you're not doing a good enough job budgeting.
Hold up.
You gotta understand, we live a totally different life. I don't have kids. You get what I'm trying to say? I don't have to go as hard.
Me? Obsessed with you? Yes. Yes, I am.
Not only is this not a male-exclusive issue, women actually brag that they're doing it.
Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about selfishness, and we're talking about them prioritizing their time, their hobbies, their stuff higher than anything else, to the detriment, both financially, emotionally, and physically, of his family.
So no data. That's cool, I have some. It is such an unbelievably hot take to say that men's hobbies are the weapons that are so aggressively harming families when we know, statistically, that women control 85% of all consumer spending. But even when you calculate things in, like the pink tax and the fact that women do pay more for housing, we don't really see too much overspending in either category. We tend to spend more and less on different things. Now, she does admit that a lot of her take here is based on personal experience, which I think we all knew that. And it sucks that you had those negative experiences with men, but please don't use those negative experiences to come on the internet and have these hot gender warred out takes where you suggest that men having hobbies is harmful to women. Stop treating all men like your shitty ex.